Saturday night, November 2nd, 2019, UFC 244, live from the Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Main event, 34-year-old Nate Diaz out of Stockton, California, who has a record of 20 wins, 11 losses, 0 draws, 5 victories by KO TKO stoppage, 11 by submission, 4 by decision, meets Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, 34-year-old out of Miami, Florida, who stands at 5'11" and has a pro mixed martial arts record of 34 wins, 13 losses, 0 draws, 15 victories by KO TKO stoppage, 2 by submission, 17 by decision. In this video, I will give you my breakdown and opinion of who I think has the better strikes, ground game, speed, and stamina between these two. First, strikes. Nate Diaz is known to have trained with Virgil Hunter in Oakland, California. Him and his brother have sparred great fighters like Andre S.O.G. Ward. And when they step into the cage, Nate Diaz is one of the most accurate punchers in mixed martial arts. Unfortunately, he does not have a lot of pop in his punches. Only 25% of his victories have come via KO TKO stoppage. Jorge Masvidal has a 44% KO stoppage ratio. 15 of his fights have come by stoppage. 4 of his last 5 wins have ended early for Masvidal. Strikes, Nate Diaz 4, Jorge Masvidal 5. Ground game. Nate Diaz and his brother basically put the Gracie Fight Academy on the map. They made jiu-jitsu popular on the West Coast. Diaz is a second-degree black belt under Cesar Gracie. 11 of his 20 wins have come by submission, 55% submission rate. Jorge Masvidal is a slugger. Yes, he's part of American Top Team. He can wrestle you to the floor, but submissions and ground game are not his specialty. He only has 2 submissions in his 47-fight career, a very low percentage of 6%. The last time he submitted somebody for a victory was on July 7, 2013. Ground game, 5 for Nate Diaz, 3 for Jorge Masvidal. Speed. Nate Diaz, in my opinion, is not very fast at all in the octagon. His strength is his accuracy. He does not need to be super quick when every single one of his punches lands. Nate Diaz rarely misses when he's stalking his prey. The bad thing about not being quick is Nate Diaz does get caught a lot in the octagon, and he does not have the best chin. Jorge Masvidal has explosive one-shot power, but again does not have blistering movement. His strength again is not speed, it's toughness, being able to absorb punches and standing right in front of his opponent. Speed, 3 for Nate Diaz, 3 for Jorge Masvidal. Stamina. Even though Nate Diaz has only had 4 decision victories in his career, the majority of his wins is because he outlasts his opponents. He tires them out, throwing strikes, going for takedowns, and wearing down his opponent before he feels it's the right time to end the bout. Jorge Masvidal, 17 decision victories in his 34 wins. 50% of his victories have come via decision. Very similar to Nate Diaz, where he wears down his opponents, but Masvidal is a bit more tactical in the way he strikes. When Nate Diaz sees a possible opening, even though it's dangerous, he'll go in for the strike. When Masvidal sees the same dangerous opening, he will not strike. He will not go in and go for the finish. Instead, he'll just rack up points and mute his opponent's attacks. Stamina, 5 for Diaz, 5 for Masvidal. UFC 244, November 2nd, 2019, Madison Square Garden, New York, New York. Main event, Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal.